أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وبارك وسلم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students, welcome to the first introductory class of the Principles of Auditing. In today's introductory lecture, we'll cover the following contents. Number 1, self-introduction. Number 2, class introduction. Number 3, course contents introduction. Number 4, introduction to mode of lectures. Number 5, introduction to subject. So first, I'll introduce myself to you. So, my name is Nusratullah Noori. I am an MBA in Finance and Accounting. Besides, I am an associate member of CPAA. CPAA is one of the professional bodies in UK. CPAA is one of the professional bodies in UK. They provide trainings and memberships to all those individuals who work in United Kingdom in the field of public accountancy and in the field of external audit. I've done my MBA from Peshawar University and my BBA from Seacoast University, both in Peshawar, Pakistan. I've joined Salam University in 2014. Besides my lecturership at Salam University, I'm a tax consultant or a public accountant. I work in the field of public accountancy in one of the audit firms in Afghanistan, which is called More Afghanistan. The reason I've been chosen to teach you Principles of Auditing subject is because of my academic background, which is finance and accounting background, and because of my professional career, which is the field of public accountancy. I've been teaching this subject for 3 years now at Salam University. So, inshallah, I'll be teaching you this subject, and I hope that you learned a lot of things from me. Alright, now let's talk about the class. This subject, inshallah, I'll provide lectures to the students of Salam University, the Faculty of Economics, Department of Business Administration, for all the sessions, which is morning male session, morning female session, afternoon session, and the evening session. So these lectures will be delivered to all of these sessions, the students of all of these sessions. Right? Now the third thing in our today's lecture content is course contents. So let me introduce you to the course contents. So the page in front of you is the course contents. Inshallah, this course will be taught to you in 16 weeks. All the list of the topics given here will be taught, inshallah, in 16 weeks. And as you can see, that each week has its own specific topics. Right? You can see week 1 has its own topics. You see week 2 has its own topics. You see week 3 has its own topics. You see week 4, week 5, week 6, and so on and so on. And then we have week 15 and week 16. Right? The books I have recommended here are 5. Number 1 is a book written by Khwaja Amjad Saeed. The book title is Auditing, Accountancy and Taxation. The second book is written by Meigs and Larson. It's called Principles of Auditing. The third book is Principles of Auditing. It's written by Muhammad Arif Chaudhry. The fourth book is Auditing by Parkashan. And number 5 is Fundamentals of Auditing. It's written by R.K. Mott. So these are the books that you can download it from the internet, or you can purchase it from a bookshop. See the book, whichever book you find easy to understand and to read, buy that book, and make sure that the book that you prefer to buy contains all the topics listed here in your course curriculum, right? Besides these books which are mentioned here in the curriculum, I have already provided you a link where you can download all the subject material, including lecture slides. And there I've given some uploaded some books as well, so you can use those books as well as a source of self-study or as a source of reference study. All right, so that's all about the course curriculum. Now let's go and see what we have. Mode of lecture, introduction to mode of lectures. So basically, inshallah, our delivery mode is going to be online video lectures, and in support I'll provide you the answers of the questions that you have. For example, when I provide you the lecture video, you listen to that, you watch that video, and you see that there is a question, there is a topic, there is a word that you have less information about, or you want further elaboration or clarification. You just get back to me with the question, and then I provide you the explanation of that question, of that specific topic that you want elaboration on, right? So basically, our mode of lectureship is going to be the video lecture. In support of the video lecture, I have already provided you the lecture notes, which are in form of PDF. In form of PPT, PowerPoint presentation slides. And then I have also provided you some reference books, so you can use all of them as a source of study. So how will you study? You have to first have the material, the supporting material, which I discussed, or the lecture notes, the slides and the books that I've provided to you, right? Most probably and most preferably, you have to have those PPT slides. So have them in front of you, maybe in form of hard. You can print them as well, or maybe in the computer in front of you. Have them, and then you can listen to my lecture from a mobile set where you have already activated the internet. So you have to have those PowerPoint slides open in front of you, and at the same time you should listen to my video lecture, right? And follow my video lecture alongside the PowerPoint presentation lecture slides. Once you have paused the lecture, the video lecture, note down the question with yourself on a piece of paper, or maybe in the laptop in front of you. Then just note that down, and then go ahead, listen to the remaining video or the remaining lecture. So wherever and whenever you see a topic, or for example a word that you need explanation, just pause the video and then note down that topic or that word with you, and go ahead, proceed, and so on. And this way, complete the lecture, the video lecture, and also follow the lecture slides. Once you have done all that, then come back to me with the question in your in the specific groups that you have. So I'll receive those questions from your side, and then in the next lecture in the next video lecture that I record for you, first I will discuss those questions. I'll explain those questions in a very simple and elaborative way, so you get the answer of all those questions, right? Once those questions have been resolved, then I'll go ahead and start the new lecture. All right, so that's all about the mode of lecture. So that's all about the mode of delivery and how we'll go ahead and discuss the topics and discuss the questions that you have, inshallah. Right, now I'll talk about the subject. So look, the subject is basically a subject of the professional field. This is one of the subject from the professional field, and that professional field is called auditing, right? In the professional world, there are various fields of professions. For example, there is medicine, for example, there is engineering, for example, there is architecture, and similarly there is other fields like accountancy, like auditing, like taxation, and like finance, right? In BBA, when you get to the final semester, you choose your specialization, right? You choose your specialization as a marketing, as a human resource or management, or finance. This finance is not like, it's a specialization, but it's a general specialization. Understood? Within finance, there are multiple other specializations, right? Some people are specialized in financial management, some people are specialized in financial analysis, some people are specialized in auditing, some people are specialized in taxation, some people are specialized in public accountancy, some people are specialized in cost accounting, management accounting. So there are thousands of, not thousand, there are a lot of other fields within the finance, right? One of the most important field in today's modern world is auditing. Understood? Auditing is a separate professional field. To become an auditor, academic qualification is not sufficient, right? Academic qualification on the basis of the academic qualification, you cannot become an auditor. In order to become an auditor, you should have professional education, right? Inshallah, in my upcoming lectures, I'll talk about what professional education is and what academic education is. Now, academic education is the education that you are in. Understood? This BBA, BSc, BSIT, all those education programs provided by the universities, right? Those are, commonly called academic qualifications, right? Academic qualification is provided by the universities. Professional qualification is provided by the professional organizations. What is the difference between the professional qualification and academic qualification? One of the most important differences is that professional organizations will never provide you certification or accreditation until and unless you have passed all the examinations that they conduct. Number two, you have required experience, practical experience. After fulfilling the knowledge base qualification and experience base, which is practical experience in that specific field, then they will provide you certification, they'll provide you degree, they'll provide you the accreditation or chartered, right? And the academic qualifications, they do not require you to be to have practical experience. For example, Salam University, when you complete your 8 semesters and get your exams and take your exams and everything is, when all the papers and all that is passed, they'll provide the degree. They will not ask you for the practical experience, right? So auditing is one of the professional fields. To become an auditor, you have to have professional knowledge, professional qualification, and the practical background. Now the question, why you guys study this subject, auditing? And remember, this subject is just principles. This is the basic subject, right? As I told you, auditing is a broad field. Of that broad field, the initial subject, the preliminary subject that will introduce you to the field of auditing is this subject, which is called principles of auditing, right? So the question, why you guys are studying this subject? You know, BBA, this program, business administration, it's called business administration. While you are administering the business, while you are running the business, while you are managing the business, you will come across to face different types of people. The people from the government side, the people from legal side, the people from different fields. You will face the people, and you will have to have meetings with them. You will have to have discussions with them. So as I told you, that every organization is involved with the finances, right? So in order to check whether those finances are properly managed, what we have to do, we have to bring in an external individual who is expert in financial management, who is expert in finances, who is expert in accounting, in financial management, in financial analysis, and he will review all our financial information and accounting record and all the organization. He will review the processes, the data, the documents, and at the end he will say, yes, your financial information and your finance department is performing well, and the financial statements that are provided to you by the finance manager, they are correct and you can rely on them, right? If you don't know how your financial position is, how your business is growing, whether the information which comes from your finance department is true or not, if you don't know that, how you can get business decisions, right? Remember, we said that accounting is the language of business, because accounting provides us the information, and that information is called financial information. And where can we say see that financial information? We can see the financial information on the financial statements. Now, who develops financial statements? The finance manager. And who is finance manager? Finance manager is an employee. Understood? And you are the boss of the business, and he is the employee. So there is a possibility that the employee may do something wrong, because he's human. That something done wrong could be a human error. It could be deliberate and it could be undeliberate, right? So who will prove? There is a doubt in your mind that whether this information prepared by the finance manager, who is a human individual, right? And he can make mistakes. You know, who will prove that those financial statements are correct? Who will prove that? The auditor, right? And for you as a finance manager to deal with that auditor who comes from outside, what you have to do? You should know his language. And his language, you will know that through the principles of auditing, through this subject. So the whole meaning of this discussion is that principles of auditing, it's a language of the auditing field. So when you study this subject, you will be able to communicate with the auditors, with that person who comes from outside, and he checks your financial record, your financial information, and your accounting record. So in order to be able to understand and to talk with him, right, we are offering this subject in the BBA, right? The subject will not make you auditors, but the subject will make you a good communicator with the auditor, because you will go through all those processes, all those terminologies used by auditor. You will know them, right? You will learn them, and when auditor comes and he talks to you, you can understand what does he mean, and also you can properly communicate with him, so he comes into agreement with you, right? Okay, so the contents that we have discussed earlier, the list of these topics, we have divided them into 6 chapters, right? So these are the 6 chapters: chapter number 1, chapter number 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, and chapter 6. I have already provided you all these chapters along with this 3 books here, right? All of them are supporting material. Basically, I have prepared all these 6 chapters from these 3 different books. You can choose any one of them, or maybe all of them. It depends on you. So how these chapters have been designed. The chapters I have designed my chapters in my own way. Like they are not the chapters that you can find in these 3 books or any other book that you will purchase from this list that I have provided to you, from one of these 5, right? I mean, these 6 chapters are not like the chapters that you will see in the books. Like chapter 1 will not be the chapter 1 in the book that you will be studying, right? Chapter 2 could not be the chapter 2 of that book. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, these chapters are designed according to the course curriculum here, right? Here you see these topics are divided into 16 weeks. Now I have designed 6 chapters out of these list of topics, right? And this chapter organization is very logical and very helpful to my students, and these has proved very helpful as per my experience to the students, right? They're designed in a way that one chapter is connected to the other chapter, and other chapter is connected to the other chapter, and other chapter is connected to the other chapter, right? And within each chapter there are 2, 3, or 4 lectures, right? One lecture completely discusses a topic, then there is another topic, and that there's another lecture, and within that lecture there is another topic which is completely discussed within that lecture. So then one lecture is connected to the other lecture, right? So this helps the students to remember while they study for the examinations, or they study as a knowledge gain. It helps them remember the name of the chapters, then the name of the lectures within each chapter, and the name the name of the lectures, and also the name of the topics within each lecture, right? For example, I'll show you one of the chapters. So this is chapter number 1. This is chapter number 1. You see, in this chapter there are 3 lectures. Like lecture number 1, it's about what is auditing. So this complete lecture explains the question, what is auditing, by discussing different perspective of the auditing. For example, in the first slide there is the meaning, there is definition, and second slide there is discussion about the important features of auditing. In the other slide there is discussion about the objectives and purposes of auditing, and there is then historical background of the auditing. So all these slides answers the question, what is auditing, in different angle, from different perspective, but at the end it answers the question. All these topics within the lecture 1 answers the question, what is auditing, right? Similarly, we have another lecture here, lecture number 2, professional bodies in auditing and accounting. Again, this lecture completely talks about the professional bodies in the field of auditing and in the field of accounting. Again, this lecture is different lecture, but this lecture 2 is different than lecture 1. But this lecture 2 is connected to the lecture 1, because it's about the auditing, the field of auditing, professional bodies in auditing, right? Similarly, we have lecture 3, which is advantages of auditing. In this lecture, there are numerous slides which will only and only talk about the advantages of auditing, but from different perspective. Yet, this lecture is a different lecture, but it has a link with the previous lecture, which was about the professional bodies, right? And that second lecture had a link with the first lecture, which was about what is accounting. So all these lectures, a connection to one another. One lecture is important for the other lecture, and other is important for the other lecture. If you skip one lecture, you will not be able to easily understand the other lecture, right? So in order to understand the second lecture, you have to understand the first lecture. In order to understand the third lecture, you have to understand the second lecture. And similarly, all these 3 lectures together talks about what? Talks about the introduction to auditing. These 3 lectures introduce you to the field of auditing, or to the word auditing, right? That's the only, I explained to you only the first chapter. All these chapters are chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4, and chapter 5, and chapter 6. All of them are designed in the same way, right? So that's about the subject introduction. I introduced you to the subject. We had a very long discussion what auditing field is, and why it is required, why do you study the subject of auditing, why I am teaching you this subject, what is the purpose of the subject. All has been discussed. So here are core objectives of this course. Number 1, this subject will introduce you to the auditing, the field of auditing, and also the processes of the auditing, the standards used in this field, the procedures used to carry out different audits. Also, this subject will help you understand the audit itself, the process, the meaning of audit, the scope of the audit field and audit process, techniques used by the auditors, and the purpose of audit. This subject will also enable you to understand generally accepted auditing principles, right? You may have heard about the GAP, generally accepted accounting principles, right? Based on which all the accounting is carried out. Similarly, for the field of auditing, we have generally accepted auditing principles based on which all the audit field is carried out. This subject will also help you know the importance of auditing in the businesses, right? So this is also one of the objectives of this course, to give you a view that why auditing is important for your business, the business that you run, that you own, the business that you work in, right? This subject will also help you learn how to carry out audits, internal audits and external audits. Means you will not be carrying out audits, but you will know how the audits are carried out, how internal audit is carried out, how external audit is carried out. Okay, the last one is, this subject will help you understand the role of auditor and the responsibilities of auditor, right? In the future, when you complete your academic qualification and you pursue professional qualification, this subject will help you decide if you can become an auditor or not. You will see what are the auditor's responsibilities, what is the role of an auditor, and then you will decide whether I can become an auditor or not, right? If you see, looking at the responsibilities and roles, you see becoming an auditor is important for you, then you can go ahead and proceed with professional qualification and then become an auditor, right? If you don't want to become an auditor, you will at least know what are the responsibilities of auditor, because tomorrow, while you are working in an organization or you are running an organization, when auditor comes from outside in order to inspect, investigate, or examine your financial information or accounting record, you will know what are its responsibilities, right? You will know what are his responsibilities, what are your responsibilities, as a business runner, business owner, or as a business employee, right? And what are the responsibilities of that outside external auditor who comes to investigate your financial information, and what role can he play, right? So these are the core objectives of this subject. So our discussion was very long on the subject introduction, because it's very, very important to know what you are studying and why you are studying, right? So that's why I designed the first lecture as an introductory lecture, right? The main purpose of this lecture is to prepare you mentally, right, to listen to me and learn from me, as well as to mentally prepare you study this subject by explaining the purpose of this subject, the importance of this subject, what the subject is all about, what is the field of auditing, which I've discussed already. Inshallah, by now, I'm sure you have a picture of auditing in your mind, and you know why I am teaching you, and you also have decided that this is the correct guy from where we can learn the subject, right? Please, always, if you have any questions, if you have any difficulty in understanding a topic, a word, please let me know that I can help you elaborate that so you can understand.